Smarterfan.
Hey everybody, welcome to another segment of Smarterfan Podcast, where we bring you behind the veil of sports, business, and life. I'm Joe, and this is Barry. What's going on, Barry?
Everything. Draft picks signed, draft picks not signed, people after the draft, people before the draft, all kinds. People blowing up their draft.
Yeah.
Can't even get to the show, Joe. They can't even get to the show. They're getting arrested. They cursing out people, out of control. So we got a lot to talk about, good buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Oh, she's coming along.
Good. I have to call you Dr. Joe soon.
Yeah. So Nurse Joe for now. Anyway.
Crazy. So kick it off for us tonight, buddy. I know we got something. You got something cooking. I can smell it in the kitchen.
Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to our friends in Jordan.
What?
Yeah, man. And Moldova.
Wow.
And Lebanon. Thanks for listening.
Wow. Welcome, family. Man, this is awesome. I mean, this is like an international show for real.
Mm-hmm.
For real. Well, welcome, family. We appreciate you. We love you. Keep us in your prayers as we're really seeking to bring on more stuff and merch and Q&As and shout outs and websites and landing pages and all that good stuff. So we got a lot of stuff in store, and just bear with us. It's a lot of work behind the scenes, but you guys are worth it. Mm-hmm. So we appreciate the time that we get to spend with you and have some good laughs and talk about sports, business, and life.
That's right. So tonight I'm going to talk about Mr. Charley Pride.
Mr. Country Music.
That's right. Now, he was born in Sledge, Mississippi, and he was one of 11 kids. He came from a family of sharecroppers.
Wow.
Now, when he was 14, his mom bought him his first guitar. And and he taught himself how to play, And so music, he loved music, but his passion was the dream of becoming a pro baseball player.
Oh, wow.
So he began his athletic career in the 50s as a pitcher for the Memphis Red Sox in the Negro American League. And in 53, he signed a contract with the Boise Yankees, which was a Class C farm team for the Yankees.
Wow.
But he had some arm problems, so they sent him down to their Class D team in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. So
it sounds like I got a whole bunch of cows out there.
Yeah, you know it. So, but he did a short stint with them, and then he was playing. He went back to the Negro Leagues, was playing with the Louisville Clippers. Now, here's the kicker. Okay, so him and a teammate, Jesse Mitchell, were traded to the Birmingham Black Barons for a bus.
A bus?
A bus, a team bus.
Hey, it was tough times then.
Yeah. So, so he bounced around in the minors for a while, and then he got drafted into the Army in 56.
Oh, wow.
So he was stationed at Fort Carson in Colorado, and he played for their they had a team, an Army baseball team. So now they won the All-Army Sports Championship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when he got out in 58, he rejoined the Memphis Red Sox. He tried to resume his baseball career, but, those arm injuries kept plaguing him.
Mm-hmm.
So he played 3 games with the Missoula Timberjacks, which was the farm team for the Cincinnati Reds. And he tried out for the Angels organization and the Mets organization, So when he was released by the Timberjacks, he took up work in construction in Helena, Montana.
Mm.
So he was doing construction out there, and he got recruited by the company he worked for to play on the semi-pro baseball team.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So while he was doing that, he was also performing locally in the clubs out there. So this eventually caught the attention of Chet Atkins of RCA Records.
Hmm.
So Atkins signed him in '65,
Wow.
and in '67 he came out with a single called "Just Between You and Me," and that song basically launched his country music career.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and at the peak of his career, he was the top selling performer at RCA, second only to Elvis.
Wow. That's saying something.
I'm telling you, man. You know, so he got married in '56 to his wife Rosine, and they had three kids together, and they lived in Dallas, Texas. So
Hmm.
now throughout his life, he remained an avid baseball fan, and he became part owner of the Texas Rangers.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, he had a stake in that. You know, he also performed the national anthem for them for a couple of games, and he was also an avid Dallas Cowboys fan.
I knew there was a reason why I liked him.
Yeah, and he wrote their theme song, "We're the Cowboys."
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. So I think he sang the national anthem in a couple of Super Bowls too.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and unfortunately, in December of '20, he died from complications from COVID.
Man.
Yeah, yeah. He was 86.
Mm.
So yeah, but he had a good career. He really did.
Yeah. No, Charley Pride was still is one of my favorite. I listen to country music now.
Hmm.
He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah. The draft after the draft. What's that about?
Well, we're launching, this whole thing draft really sucked me in. I got to talk to some of my friends who had some players um, from the universities in the draft. And so, we were just talking, Joe, and, as we were always doing Smarterfan, we were always looking for the story behind the story.
Mm.
So a lot of stories that I was getting were, just different scenarios um, from, about the draft. Like, this is what you see on TV. Then there's actually a draft behind the draft. And
Mm.
then there's a whole bunch of stories about ain't everybody getting signed for millions of dollars.
Nope.
And there's a lot of politics and pile of tricks. You saw what happened between the Cowboys, Philly, and the Steelers.
Yep.
That's not rare. That happens all the time.
Mm.
Where they paint a guy one way and then they're negotiating with a guy in another way to get what they want over here. It is so much. So I said to myself, I sat back and I said, you know what? I think our fans would be interested to know some of this stuff about
Mm.
what goes on, with
Yeah.
these drafts. Because notice we never really get to see the Major League Baseball draft. We
No.
never get to see the MLS draft, right? And I'm going to explain why. It's
Hmm.
really fascinating.
Hmm.
It's really interesting. We see the NBA draft, but so we're gonna launch some series, but the series we're gonna kick off with is the draft behind the draft. So, one of the things about the draft is it really about the is it really about the player, or is it the biggest show on earth?
Hmm.
And really, based upon the metrics, it's really a show.
So what they call a dog and pony show.
It's a dog and pony show.
Yeah.
And it's a dog and pony show because really you got guys running around in shorts and tops and jumping and leaping but that's not really the real measure of whether or not a guy's going to get it done.
Mm.
Be able to get it done. And so there's a whole lot of hype and hoopla behind it. Like, for instance, facts or fiction, the combine predicts success. Not really. Most data shows the correlation between combine drills and actual NFL success is weak.
Hmm.
Translation, the fastest in Indianapolis doesn't mean you can play football on Sundays.
Exactly.
But you think all these guys, oh, he ran a 4.2. Oh, he ran a 4.3. Oh, no, that's nice. But usually in the NFL, you're not running a straight line.
That's the thing.
You're not running a straight line. You know, the other conversation I got into today were, well, Barry, elite athletes dominate the NFL. Well, the statistics say that's half true. Yeah, elite athleticism helps you get drafted, but it doesn't keep you in the league. A vertical jump doesn't mean as much as film study.
Yeah, right?
Processing speed is greater than a 40-yard dash because you can run a 4.3, but if you don't know where you're going because you don't know the play,
right,
you're going to get yanked. You're going to get traded. Yeah. You're going to get cut.
Yeah.
And that happens more than people realize. Some people just can't process the speed. It's a different speed at the NFL than it is in college. In college, you can kind of get away with superior talent, but when you get into a bigger pond with bigger fish, you may be just average.
Yeah, the two that come to mind that were able to do that were Reggie White and Lawrence Taylor.
What do you mean?
They processed the speed, and you couldn't run away from Lawrence Taylor because he catch you.
Yeah. At that size and speed, it was a mismatch. Nobody ever seen anybody that big, that fast.
Right.
It can run you down. So, and then you always have this one, we'll talk more about it, but the workout warriors, where guys, they get in the gym and they can do all that stuff. But hey, when it's fourth down and it's on third down and you're within the 5 and Ray Lewis is staring at you.
Yeah, man.
A lot of people make business decisions, or running lot is scaring the secondary, and that pass comes up, and your ribs are exposed. You may make a business decision, Joe. You may run that 4-1 now, but Ronnie wasn't out in Indianapolis. He here this Sunday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's those things. Processing speed, yeah, you got to have talent. And the other part of it that people don't talk about is the grind. It's a very different grind than college sports. It's very, very, very different grind. And that's just the front end. Next week, we'll talk about the back end, which are the politics and the politics. Like there was this one guy on one of my favorite shows, and he went to Nebraska, All-American, big career, ended up with the Titans, and the Titans DB coach just hated him and told him to his face and did everything he could to make his experience miserable.
Yeah.
And he's like running out of money. He's sleeping on floors and couches. His agent is sending him to this camp, that camp, the other camp. He finally gets a call back from the Titans, and he says, I am all business. And ends up having a great career. But, it was just real hearing his story, because here you go from Nebraska All-American, and now you get drafted. Guy's treating me like dirt and telling me in my face he hates me. And this is the other side of that. Probably that hate is, this is what happens, Joe. In the draft room, it happened to Sean McVay. He got a quarterback he didn't really want, but the GM wanted. Tuna used to talk about that. I should have some decisions in these groceries since I got to cook the meal.
Right, yeah.
And I have never understood that, because the GM, it's all politics, doesn't have to make them perform. The coach has to make them perform. So this coach is saying, this guy don't fit my system, but you're forcing him on me, and I don't really want him. And it's not fair to the athlete, because he, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't decide, And so many athletes get caught up in that.
Yeah, like with Uncle Jed did to Bill Parcells when he brought in T.O.
Exactly. Because a lot of things that people don't understand is that it's not just talent. It's energy, it's character, it's a lot of things to be able to have a cohesive unit, to get 53 guys to think alike, be on the same. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. So I've never understood that.
Huh?
Well, and that's why there's rare situations like you got with the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan and the GM there. They've had a long relationship, and that's a big thing. It's a big thing. And oftentimes, if the season goes bad, Joe, what happens? The coach is on the seat. Go ahead. I could go on and go on, Joe. Let me cut it short and let you go.
Well, speaking of the draft, the Giants took Arvell Reese, linebacker out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
Now he's versatile, so he can play edge or he can play linebacker. So that's going to give the DC some options with him, and they're going to need him, believe me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 6'4" and 241, so he's got size. He's a ball hawk, so we'll have to see how that pans out for them. But they also took an offensive tackle, Francis Maui Noah. Now they're going to move him, I think, to guard, so he can give Dart some immediate protection. And they plan on using him big in the running game in front of Scatterbo.
Okay. Yeah, he should be back, right? He should be back.
Yeah. So and then they added a corner, Colton Hood, and he's 193 pounds, and he's not big on interceptions, but he won't let you catch the ball either. So,
that's good.
Yeah, and that's they need secondary help bad.
Yeah, they've needed that for a long time.
Yeah, and then they also drafted Malachi Fields, wide receiver. So he's going to be behind He's going to be number 2 with Neighbors. So
okay,
we'll have to see how that plays out. I mean, he's very physical, and he's got good hands. So
well, he may be a compliment to Neighbors,
or he might be number 1 if Neighbors can't stay healthy.
Yeah, we're not going to wish that on him. But sometimes that staying healthy is because that's all you got.
Yeah.
So they run you into the ground, and the more you see the ball, the more likelihood you can get hurt. That's what happened to Saquon.
Yeah.
For 6 years.
Yep. So now the Jets, they took David Bailey. He's an edge rusher out of Texas Tech. Now he had 14.5 sacks this past season, so they definitely can use him. And they hope he'll fill the void left by Jermaine Johnson.
Okay.
So we'll have to see, but and they got Kenyon Sadiq. He's a hybrid tight end. Now he's more like a receiver because he's got 4.4 speed.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So and they say he can box out the safeties and the corners. So we'll have to see. And he can outrun the linebackers. So
yeah, 4.4. Yeah.
Yeah. So now the Cowboys, they took Caleb Downs. Now he's a safety, which they really needed. They needed secondary help also. He's out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
And he's good in ball coverage and all that. And he's going to be out there with what's his name? I can't think of his name offhand. But at this point, they need him. I think they still need corners, if you ask me.
Yeah, we haven't solved our corner issue for the past 5 years.
Right. He's a good open field tackler. So they need that because I've seen so many missed tackles last year. It wasn't funny. So now, and they also got Malachi Lawrence. He's another edge rusher. Now, this here is, as far as I'm concerned, this is Jerry trying to get the next Micah Parsons.
Well, you got to do something, Joe. You can't leave that void. You got to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, let's hope they figure it out.
You didn't want to pay him the money, so you got to go hunt. So you figure I'm gonna see if I can find another one. And it's how that go. I just told you it's hit or
Yeah,
miss.
yeah. So they also got a linebacker, Deshawn Barham, and see they're trying to get depth because they haven't signed Clowney yet. So
the Clowney's with the Cowboys.
yeah, yeah, and he's unsigned as of now. So I
So
think
he may be asking for some money.
yeah, and I think they're hedging their bets.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so we have to see how all this plays out.
Mhm.
Now the combine. We were talking about that, and it was saying it was a dog and pony show, but I don't know. It just seems to me like you said, it's just they're just there, but they're not really. It's all sizzle, no steak.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is with the combine, does it really, Joe? Does it really help teams make a better decisions? It's
No.
somewhat misleading. It helps confirm what teams already know. I mean, the tape don't lie. You
Yeah,
you, you see the kid. That's what you're gonna get.
yeah,
Now, some kids can get better, of course. But me throwing up, it's nice. 20, 225 for 25 reps, cool.
yeah.
But like Prime said, when they told him, Sanders bench, he says, "I won't be bench pressing Jerry Rice."
Well, speaking of Sanders, what about Shedeur and Deshawn?
Now listen, let me tell you something. Everybody's trying to pit them either or. Listen, it's a double win. Let me explain. Shedeur needs to be there because he continues to grow and develop. There's no better person, I think, than to do that with than Deshawn Watson. On a financial side, it behooves Watson to actually stay in Cleveland.
Mm.
He has the two best worlds. Two of things can happen. Even if he doesn't start, or if he does start, you got to remember he's older now, right? And he's
Yeah.
had some injuries,
Yep.
right? So, is the reality financially? Am I going to rebuild a team with Deshaun Watson to the Super Bowl? No, no. I don't know if he'll be able to hold up, right? But
Mm.
the positive side is I get complete upside. If Shedeur struggles, I got Deshaun. If
Mm.
Deshaun struggles, I got Shedeur,
Yep.
right? If Deshaun is doing well, and God forbid he gets hurt, guess who I got? Shedeur.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm getting cornered by people, I said it's the best situation for both of them because he's probably not going to sign another max deal, Deshaun, right? He gets the opportunity to play his way back, right? And that may happen, it may not, right? But
Yep.
he's in the best situation,
Yeah, it would seem
right?
so.
Because watch this, and I'll cut it off here. They go back and forth. Shedeur is starting, right? And he plays the regular season, then they make the playoffs. They go second round. Maybe Shedeur gets hurt or he can't
Mm-hmm.
play. I sure, as a coach, would love to be able to look over and see Deshaun Watson, who's
Mm-hmm.
now healthy because he's played through the season, right? His body's holding up.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what to do.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite silly. A lot of people saying, "Oh, it's the best of both worlds." Who ultimately wins is that daggone owner, man.
Of course.
Shedeur
Always.
made him $300 million at least off number 12, and is going to probably make him another $300 million off the jersey number 2.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Well.
got time to grow. He doesn't have to be rushed now. He's got Deshaun, who can teach him a whole lot to do what? That will speed his growth and development and so forth and so on. It's the best situation.
Yeah.
It's the best
Yeah.
situation. I'm not trying. If I'm Mr. Haslam, I'm not trying to get rid of not them.
Anyway,
And
we'll have to see how all this plays out. We really do. So
there's a lot, Joe. I told you at the beginning. I told you there's a lot going on.
So I just want to touch on this for a minute. Tyler Riddick. Okay. Now he won in Kansas last week. I meant to touch on that last week, and he became the fourth driver to win 5 of the first 9 races in the season. Right. Now the last driver to do that was Dale Earnhardt, and that was in '87.
Wow.
So, and he's finished in the top 15 in every race so far, including this one in Talladega. He just raced in. He came in 14th.
That boy is driving. That boy is driving.
Yeah, and Bubba Wallace, he's coming along also. He came out the gate pretty fast, but then he had a couple of setbacks in Darlington and Martinsville with a couple of wrecks. And he was the one who started that wreck in Talladega. He caused a 27-car pileup.
Ooh, have mercy.
Yeah, and he wound up finishing 36 because of it, and that's the reason why Riddick finished 14th.
Wow.
So, but I mean, for that particular track, for some reason, just seems to have that's where all the major wrecks happen at that track.
Nice. There's something the way that track is designed.
It's a super speedway.
Yeah.
So, but I just wanted to touch on that.
No, absolutely.
And give him his props.
Absolutely. They're driving their butts off. Michael smiling like he's winning the NBA championships again.
Yeah.
He's over there cheesing.
That's right. And
I ain't mad at him. I'm so glad. And he's doing a lot for the sport. Now I'm gonna dig into the analytics just to show you next week.
And that's where we'll have to stop.
Well, my friend, this food be cooking real fast, Joe. I don't know what's going on here. This food be cooking real fast. Well, we want to send out love and our thanks to our family in Oman who joined the Smarterfan family. Vietnam is making a climb up the ladder. We appreciate you, Vietnam. And Spain. Maybe some of our people from Seville. And Spain have joined Smart. So we welcome you. We welcome you. We thank you for your support. Continue to like and share it with others. And as we said, we're bringing more things on board. So please continue to stay with us, continue to grow with us. And as we always say, Joe,
stay in the game.
Stay in the game, folks. See you next week.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Smarterfan.